What if I told you that there was one movie you could watch right now that tells the entire story of the Wano arc in a nutshell, only it came out 70 years ago? I'm talking about Seven Samurai, the highly influential Japanese film from the 1950s, made by the most iconic Japanese director of all time, Akira Kurosawa. It's a story of how seven samurai came together to save a village, but it's when you look into the details of the movie that you realize how strikingly similar it is to the story of Wano, to the point that it has me wondering if this movie provided the basic concept for Oda to work with for the Wano arc, that he then naturally simply added countless layers of additional plotting, characters, themes, battles, etc. But it's as though if you strip the Wano arc down to its bare bones roots, you have the film Seven Samurai. Now, I'm not the first person to bring up Seven Samurai. I remember before Wano even began, there was a lot of discussion surrounding the film, with a lot of people speculating that maybe the Wano arc was going to parallel the film in some ways, simply because Wano was an arc about samurais, and Seven Samurai is simply that iconic of a film. Not to mention Oda in particular does definitely draw influence from Japanese cinema. For instance, we all know that the admiral's designs are all based off of famous Japanese film stars, but you can even see certain quotes from Japanese films potentially influencing the ideas behind One Piece. Now, when the Wano arc began, I think a lot of the talk surrounding the film Seven Samurai died down, because as the story of Wano started rolling, so much was going on and so many plot lines were being developed that parallels to the film kind of took a back seat in conversation. And maybe there's just been too much happening for people to take a full step back, look at the big picture, and realize how much the outline of Seven Samurai does actually match exactly what we're getting today. So before we get into it, make sure to subscribe for more One Piece content, and if you want more film content, I have just launched my second channel, Movie Morge, where you can get movie analysis breaking down the essentials of storytelling in film, analyzing both popular movies and obscure, as well as broader trends throughout cinema history and what is happening in the modern day. Not to mention TV series I will be tackling in the near future. So if you like movies, if you like TV, if you like my style of analysis, I definitely urge you to check out Movie Morge after this. There are some videos there to watch already, the link is in the description below, and subscribe for more movie content every Saturday. So all that being said, let me talk about Seven Samurai. First, the broad stuff. The story of Seven Samurai is about a village that is oppressed by a group of bandits. The villagers live in absolute poverty, as the bandits repeatedly take everything the villagers have. The villagers decide they need to get help, and so they send out to find samurai to come back and aid them in a fight against the bandits. Hence the title, Seven Samurai. They find seven samurai who agree to come back to the village to fight on behalf of the villagers. The samurai and the villagers together are ultimately able to defeat the bandits and end their reign of tyranny over the village. The samurai were the heroes who were the key to victory, and the villagers get to live happily ever after as a free people. Now, this is actually exactly the framework of the plot of Wano, but with a twist. And I think it's because of this twist that even people who have watched Seven Samurai don't realize that Wano is in fact following the same plot. So here we have a similar setup. In Seven Samurai, there's a village oppressed by bandits who have taken everything the villagers have and driven them into complete poverty. In Wano, it's the same thing, just on a bigger scale. We have a country that is oppressed by pirates who have taken everything the citizens have and driven them into complete poverty. Now, in Seven Samurai, the villagers realized that their only hope of defeating their oppressors was by sending out for samurai to come help them. So, some of the villagers went out abroad in search of samurai to recruit to their cause. But the twist that Oda is doing in Wano is the same exact setup, except it's the One Piece version of it. So we have Wano, which is actually a country of samurai, and here the samurai are the oppressed people, and the samurai are actually realizing they need help, and the samurai are the ones who go traveling abroad to find people to recruit to their cause, people who turn out to be the Straw Hat Pirates. So it's a little twist on the same setup. Oppressed village run into poverty by bandits, villagers go searching abroad for samurai to recruit to bring back and save the village. One Piece version, it's the samurai country that has been run into poverty by pirates. It's the samurai who go searching abroad for warriors to recruit to bring back and save their country. The same way the seven samurai were the outside heroes for the village in the film, so too are the Straw Hats the outside heroes for the nation of Wano in One Piece. They play the role of the samurai for the samurai. And if you're saying, well, that isn't that strong of a parallel on its own, and oppressed people sending out for help to recruit warriors from the outside world to come save them, well, it gets more specific than that. If you watch The Seven Samurai, and understanding again that the oppressed village in the film is very much a parallel for the state of the entire nation of Wano in One Piece, you will see that there are two very striking conflicts that come up that are pretty much exactly the same as what we are seeing in Wano today. First, the state of the village. What is heavily played up is the sense of poverty and starvation, and how the bandits have taken everything, which is the same idea that is heavily played up throughout Act 1 and Act 2 of Wano. The village in Seven Samurai essentially mirrors the leftover towns we see in One Piece. But beyond that, the other biggest problem afflicting the village is that their spirits have been broken. The first scene of the film hones in on this, that these are a broken people who no longer believe there is any hope in fighting back. They do not believe that they could win, or that anyone would be able to help them win. However, there are those among the villagers who want to fight back and want to take the gamble of trying to bring in outside forces to challenge the oppressive bandits. That is exactly what we see stressed throughout Wano for the first two acts, and especially the second act. That is what Luffy experiences throughout Udon, that the nation of Wano has been broken, the spirits of the people have been broken, and the first challenge is getting them to believe in the first place that they can fight back. Now, the second big conflict that comes up among the village in Seven Samurai is also exactly what we see throughout Wano, which is the fear and distrust of outsiders. The village in Seven Samurai is against bringing in outside help, not just because their spirits are broken and they don't believe they can win, but also because they do not trust samurai from outside the village. This becomes a prevalent issue when the samurai are recruited and arrive at the village to show them how to fight. There are fears of what the samurai will do with the women of the village. There is general distrust of their motivations. It takes a big scene for the villagers to start following the samurai and at least beginning to trust them. Similarly, what do we see and hear throughout all the first two acts of Wano? Isolationist nation, fear of outsiders, the outsiders are bad, don't want outsiders coming in, and that is one of the other biggest obstacles Luffy has to overcome. Not just helping the people of Wano find their spirits again, but making them get over their mistrust of outsiders. It takes this big scene in Udon for Luffy to challenge them to realize that they can and should accept help from the outside, because they came here to defeat Kaido, much as the samurai in the film needed to challenge the villagers to realize that outsiders or not, they needed their help to defeat the bandits. And perhaps my favorite and really the most telling parallel is this. You can really see how in some way at the core of this whole Wano conflict, Oda wanted to start the whole storyline with an idea from Seven Samurai. In the film, the samurai don't fight for free. They are kind-hearted people, of course, who are coming in to help a dangerous cause, but the villagers still promise them something as an incentive, however minor it is. Now again, the villagers have absolutely nothing, absolute poverty. The bandits have taken everything. The one thing the villagers are able to offer the samurai is rice. That's it. They can only give the samurai bowls of rice in exchange for putting their lives on the line. Now again, the villagers have very little, so they give the samurai rice, and the villagers themselves have nothing else to eat but millet. They are willing to eat and survive just off the millet and give their rice to the kind samurai instead, and in return, the samurai vow to defeat the bandits and free their village. And the very first scene, the very first interaction in the very first act of Wano is what? Tama giving Luffy a bowl of rice. We know Tama normally eats millet, and here she gives Luffy a bowl of rice, and in exchange, Luffy is going to save Wano. All of it. Of course, there are a million other plot reasons at play as to why Luffy is going to defeat Kaido. It's not like if Luffy didn't get that rice, then he wouldn't want to defeat Kaido, but it's the additional personal touch to it. The simplicity of the choice Oda made at the start of the story as a clear callback to one of the most influential films of all time. Before anything else happened in the story, Oda wanted to establish this simple, classic motivation for Luffy as saving Wano in exchange for being fed rice. A village for rice, a country for rice. For kind-hearted outsiders, that is enough. And beyond all that, there are countless smaller bits of influence from Seven Samurai you can see. For example, visual similarities of swords being used as grave markers for warriors on a hill, or the final battle of Seven Samurai taking place during a great storm, much like the Battle of Onigashima taking place during a great storm. That unfortunately doesn't support my theory of the raid failing, but I have to be honest in my observations and at least mention it. And even beyond Wano, fun little ideas like this, that a true samurai would never drink himself into a state where he can't defend himself. A major quote from Zoro early in the story that may actually have stemmed from Seven Samurai, as there is a long segment where the worthiness of swordsmen in the film is tested by whether or not they ever let their guard down. So if you enjoyed this video and want to see me really tackle movie subjects in depth, then definitely check out Movie Morgue. The link is in the description below. And there will be new movie analyses every Saturday. Talk to you all later.